How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. And how does it feel that spring has finally arrived?
Oh, very good. Yes, yeah. So I'm afraid because I always feel like there's a false spring before the real spring. So I'm worried that we may end up with a little bit more cold weather before we're in the clear, but it does feel nice to have the sun shining for sure.
Well understood. Now, do you prefer fall, spring, or a bit of both?
Uh, a bit of both. Like fall has its own magic, obviously. It's beautiful. I love Halloween. But then spring has that particular sense of joy because winter's over. I'm not a fan of winter.
I'm not a fan of winter either. I mean, snow is nice to look at. It's fun to sled in, but having to drive in it and deal with the cold, yeah, it's a nightmare.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. But although Easter has definitely become my favorite holiday.
Oh, really? And why
Yeah.
is that?
Because it's less stressful. Where you
Mm-hmm.
have holidays like Christmas where it's really chaotic, or at least the days before Christmas, it's very chaotic. Where Easter, it's not chaotic at all.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And the chocolate is good. I
Yes,
do.
chocolate is delicious as well, and so is chocolate on Halloween.
Right. Yes. I mean, all the holidays really have some kind of candy, I feel like.
And of course, at Christmas time, you have cookies and cakes.
Yes, and candy canes and all of that, and
And
gingerbread.
cakes as well. Yeah, I was actually craving gingerbread cookies the other day, even though it's not Christmas. It's like, oh, I just really want to have a gingerbread cookie.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I've
Yeah.
never tried to make them. I feel like it might be kind of difficult to really do it right, but worth it.
So you and your husband are in the music business, correct?
Yes, we are. Yep.
So are you an independent group or do you travel to many states to
So we're independent in the sense that we are an unsigned band. We're a rock alternative rock band, Hooked Like Helen. But we do travel quite a bit. We do tour. We've done two national tours now just this past year. Opening for other bands, opening for Icon for Hire, and then Halocene and No Resolve. And that's been a blast. We do travel down to Nashville quite a bit, just because there's a lot of networking and other musicians and things and opportunities and stuff to for musicians down there. But we are Ohio based and we are independent.
nice. And for most of your music, is it cover music or is it original or is it a bit of both?
It's original music.
Nice.
We did a collaboration with Halocene, one of the headliners that we opened for, where we covered an Olivia Rodrigo song, Vampire. And then every once in a while, I love that song. Every
That's
once
a
in a
good
while,
song.
it really is.
Mhm.
We'll throw in like social media covers, 1 minute versions of songs, but as far as what, we release in general, it's 99% original music.
Yeah, we actually reached out to Olivia Rodrigo's team a while back requesting an interview, but we couldn't get her interviewed for season two, which I get it because she's getting ready to go on tour, and
Sure.
she already is on tour. Let me correct myself. She already is on tour, but we did have best wishes from both her and her team, which was very nice of her, and we do hope to get her on the show eventually.
Oh, yes, that is
Yeah.
very nice. And yeah, she's got some incredible music. So
Mhm.
you'll get her next time.
Oh yeah, definitely. Really wanted to go see her live, but couldn't get tickets, sadly.
Right. Yeah. It's probably pretty high demand. I'm sure she's selling out everywhere.
Well, it's not so much selling out. I mean, Ticketmaster is very difficult to get into these days because you have to get in a waiting room.
Right.
And
Right.
it's hit or miss. It's either you get put in the waiting room or you don't get put in the waiting room. And if you're in the waiting room, it's either you get tickets or you don't get tickets. And finally, I just got put in the waiting room, but still haven't received an email, for a ticket available yet. I
Oh,
just
wow.
got.
Geez. Okay. So maybe there's still a chance.
But did you hear that she has collaborated with Crumble Cookies to make a Olivia Rodrigo Guts
N-
cookie?
No, I did not hear that. That sounds very enticing.
Well, it's limited time, of course, but see, it only gets released in the areas that she's performing. So for Ohio, it doesn't get released until she comes to Ohio.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. Think about how difficult that must be to coordinate all that. That's impressive.
And something cool that I read is that well, not for every box, but for some box, there will be lucky fans that will get a signed signature box with her signature on the box, which I'm like, how is that possible?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's pretty cool though.
I mean, it's one thing you get signed albums, but like, how is it possible for someone to like actually go into a local bakery to get their thing signed? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if she does it in advance and then ships them in, I don't know.
It's probably that way. But anyhow, it's a purple sandwich style cookie with sprinkles, vanilla icing, and jam in the middle.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Actually have not tried crumble cookie yet. I've heard amazing things. We do have one in Sandusky now, but I just haven't gotten to. I might wait until the Olivia Rodrigo one comes.
Yeah. Not don't judge me, but when it comes out in the area that I'm in, I'll be getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and waiting just in my car watching Disney Plus on my phone until the thing
Oh
happens.
yeah. Oh no,
Because
that's
it's likely going to get sold out really,
right.
really quick. So really want to get
Yes. Oh, that's super cool. No, my cousins, like when Dunkin' Donuts finally came to our hometown, like I grew up out in LA, in north of LA, they waited in line from the, early hours of the morning to make sure that they got in there on opening day. So I totally understand it.
me and my mother once in a while do a donut trail and we actually get up like at 4 or 5 in the morning to because see these are really popular bakeries that sell really good donuts and they get sold out really really fast so we try to be the first ones to get them before they get sold out. I mean they make them every day but still
Right.
I mean if they
Yeah.
get sold out they get sold out.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
We are trying to do a donut trail eventually. We just don't know when that's going to be. The last time we did it, it was 3 years ago.
Oh my gosh, definitely due for a donut trail. That's too long.
So you're in the Sandusky area,
Yes. Yep.
and do you get to visit Lakeside Marblehead quite a bit?
Honestly, not so much. We kind of know where it is. We've been to Port Clinton a few times. There's a studio out there that we've gone to. But not really. Is that somewhere that you've spent time?
I go there every summer. I didn't go there 20, well, I mean, I did go there, but I didn't like spend a night up there in 2020, of course. But uh, that is home. Lakeside is home to me.
Okay. Okay. Oh
Yeah.
wow. That's awesome.
Uh, and it's funny because I did a web series a while before Retro Podcast. I did a web series called Lakeside, which was based on Lakeside, and there's been discussions about bringing the show back, but bringing it to a bigger level.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
So, quick question that I do have with your music is that since you perform for like bands and do the openings for bands, are you and your husband planning to like release an album of your own or make like collaborate with more people and like get to a whole part where it's like state traveling and also international traveling as well.
Yes. So we've released on our own a few EPs over the past several years. So like the first one was technically 9 songs. It was 7 original songs and 2 remixes of some of those songs. And then some singles, and then we released another EP with 5 songs on it in 2019. And then since then, we've just kind of been like preparing for the live shows and doing the live shows, writing, and recording. So now we have a few songs that are done that we're sitting on, and then a few more that are demoed out that we just need to finish, with the plan to release an entire album and then to tour off of that album. So we're hoping to have that kind of, it's in the works now. We don't have release dates finalized or anything like that, because when you're independent you kind of gotta strategize your own marketing plan and all of that and trying to figure out how we're going to do things and budgeting, etc. But we're thinking hopefully by the summertime we should, and then yes, of course international would be amazing. That would be the ultimate goal.
Yeah. Are you terrified of going on airplanes or do you not have a problem with airplanes?
No, I've never had a problem with airplanes. And then right after I had my son and he was little, we would travel because, like I said, I'm from just north of LA and we're in Ohio now because John grew up out here. So we would do quite a bit of traveling back and forth to visit family, and like having a son and being on a plane and just having all of the, you know, kind of your hormones and everything shaken up by the whole thing. Like I kind of ended up getting a little bit of anxiety about airplanes. But somehow in the past several years it's just gone away. So I'm good with it again. It was just this short little period of just being like, turbulence,
What
when
about
you're
international traveling?
we've traveled internationally one time. It was actually to film the music video for our song Liar. That it was part of a dance movie called High Strung Free Dance. And they had filmed much of that movie out in Romania. Just it's an English American movie, but in Romania they have some really talented people who are able to get things done on a better budget for an indie film. So they also had us film the music video out there. So we flew. First we flew from Ohio to New York City, LaGuardia or whatever that
Mhm.
airport is, international airport. And then we flew from there to Istanbul, Turkey. And so we had a layover there. And it was so we were on Turkish Air, and it was amazing. It was the most beautiful airplane we'd ever been on, and just the most awesome experience. I mean, it was like an 11-hour flight, I think, but it was like it was still awesome. The food was great, everything. And then a short little flight into Romania, um, Bucharest, and it went amazing. Like we had an awesome host out there who kind of showed us around. We spent a whole week out there, even though the shoot for the music video was only one day. So we were like able to kind of acclimate to the massive time difference and get some food and meet some people, learn a little bit of the language, and see some of museums, etc. And it was just an incredible experience. So after that happened, we're like, oh yeah, international is great.
Nice. And was the airplane a double-decker airplane or was it a one-story airplane?
It was very, very big, but it was still, I think, one story. I had flown to Hawaii when I was a kid, and that was, I think, a double-decker airplane, but this one was just really big, I think. It's been a hot minute now, but yeah, I think it was just massive.
I've never been on a double-decker airplane before, but I've always wanted to, go on one if that was if there was any luck going on a double-decker airplane. But see, I do love to travel a lot, especially internationally, but my biggest fear of traveling internationally is going over the ocean because I mean, you never know what's going to happen going over an ocean. That's like one of the biggest fears. And of course, traveling internationally could be scary too because you never know what would happen if you lost your passport, and that's the scary part. Like what would happen
Yes.
if you lost your passport or something important that you needed to get back into the US. Yeah, I mean it is scary to travel US because and you're right when it comes to especially filming indies, music videos, films, television, you do get a lot of discounts when it comes to travel, filming internationally.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. And like, we were definitely a little bit scared because at the time, this was in I think 2018 that we filmed this music video. There was like some kind of, turbulent things sort of happening in the general area of Istanbul, Turkey. And so we were just like a little bit worried, there had been some like terrorism activity, etc., like kind of outside of the airport. But the security was really high and really organized. They looked through everybody's everything, and we felt secure just as long as we knew, like, okay, like let's not mess up, let's not lose our passport or something like that. Let's not do anything that, is inadvertently illegal or something like that. And we were fine. We made it through.
What advice would you and your husband give to people that want to go into the music business?
Um, my goodness, I could give so much. I would say believe in yourself, and if you have a vision, don't let it's good to take constructive criticism. That's one thing that's actually important. But don't let somebody else, just because they say they're more experienced or more well connected, influence what you're trying to do. Um, Artistically with your vision, because everybody's got an opinion, and not everyone's opinion can be right. Some people are going to say you're not good enough, you're not this, you're not that. But if you're true to yourself and what you're saying is authentic, you're going to find the right people to resonate with. So you just have to stay strong.
Nice. And we are coming down to the end of the interview, and we actually have two questions, but we also have a third one. This is going to be new for season 3 when that comes back in the fall. But we're going to start with my mother's question. She wants
Oh,
to know if you had to spend the rest of your life watching one movie, what would that movie be?
Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
I like the first one better. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I like the first one.
I do like the first one as well. To me, that one's way a little bit more of a horror movie, versus an action movie, for obvious reasons,
Yeah.
their budget even just, and but me as a little girl growing up, I really looked up to Sarah Connor in the second one when she became her own hero.
Did you hear that the actress that played her is going to be in Stranger Things season 5?
She is Linda
Yeah, she's
Hamilton.
she's going to be in Stranger Things season 5.
Yes. That's awesome. We're also Stranger Things fans, so
I
that's
I love Stranger Things.
same.
Yeah,
It's so
I met Paul Reiser last year. He wasn't on the podcast, sadly. I went and saw him for a stand-up show, and I didn't know
oh,
who he was. I mean, I heard the name, but I didn't know who he was. And then when he said Stranger Things, I'm like, Stranger Things? Who would he play in Stranger Things? And my dad whispers he was the doctor. I was like, no, that can't be right. He's like, no, 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 he was the good doctor, not the evil doctor, the good doctor. He's like, oh, that doctor. Yeah, I remember. But I
oh,
couldn't think which episode he was in, what season or episode he was in. But when I got his actually have it right, somewhere right here. Uh, but when I got his book signed, I asked him what season of Stranger Things you were in, and he's like, I was in season 2 and season 4, and season 3, of course, for that one scene. And it took me a while to realize that. And he's like, do you remember? That was like, I saw season 2 once, but I couldn't remember it very well. And he's like, oh, I don't remember it either. That's what he was like, I don't remember it either.
oh, that's hilarious.
And now for the retro question is, what was your favorite retro product growing up?
Oh my gosh. Like of any like any category?
Any category, from video games, movies, toys,
Okay.
snacks, for that matter.
All right. I honestly I'd have to say probably like I had a little cassette player karaoke machine that I was able to record like my very earliest demo ideas on, like by swapping out the two and like recording different layers and then keep recording more layers of music onto the two different cassettes, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Um, so probably that. It was a
It's a
very
good
big,
choice.
yeah, it was a big part of the beginnings of my songwriting.
It's one of those music cassette players, right, with the headphones, and
Yes,
kind of
yeah,
like
but it
what.
was like a big one because it was like a karaoke machine, so it was like this tall, and had multiple. It had CD and cassette in it.
Very cool, very cool. For a moment, I was thinking of that's what Chris Pratt had in Guardians of the Galaxy. I was like, no, no, this is different, because his was
Oh,
just a cassette player, where you said yours is cassette and CD.
oh, right, yeah. Oh, was his like a little portable one? I can't
Yeah, it was a
remember.
it was a portable one with
Oh,
headphones.
okay. The little Walkman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the third and new question of retro podcast is, what was the most embarrassing story, but then in the end it turned out to be really funny,
Oh, um, geez, most embarrassing story that's ever happened to like us?
to
Oh,
like you or family in general, but mostly it's you. But like, well, it was embarrassing at first, but then at the end it turned out to be really funny.
well, the first thing that comes to mind, was we played a show on our first tour this past spring in Roseville, California. And it was like a packed house and it was a really cool venue, the Goldfield Trading Post. And the very first song, I jumped up on, we actually put a weight bench on our stage because we didn't have time and slash couldn't afford to get like one of those riser things that a lot of bands have on the stage where they step up on it to kind of get up and over so they can see the crowd better and the crowd can see them. So at the last second we put our weight bench in there because we like to work out and that's one of the other things we do. So I went and jumped up on it and I jumped too hard and I
Oh,
flew off and fell off the stage.
oh,
And it was kind of a far fall, but I was able to land on like a sub speaker or something, kind of ricochet off that and then land on the floor. So I landed on my feet. And there was a barrier between us and the crowd, so I didn't land in the crowd. Um, However, I kept singing and I was okay. And I climbed back up and like the audience kind of loved it. Like they were kind of like cheering me on and they were like, we'll catch you next time and da da da, you're fine. So like what started out as like that could have been really embarrassing ended up being kind of like a cool, fun moment for the show. And it ended up being like probably one of our top 5 favorite best shows we've ever played. Like it was a great crowd and a great night. So
That is hilarious. But I definitely imagine where you come from. Like first it did seem funny, but then at the end it turned out to be funny. But
yeah.
when you're saying audience, it's funny because I do have a similar story. It wasn't a concert, sadly. It was actually in a movie theater.
Oh,
Well, I wasn't in. I mean, I wasn't watching the movie. So one of my jobs I had when I was in college, I worked at a movie theater, and we were playing 80 for Brady. And and it was a local small movie theater, and there were only three rooms, and every now and then we had to do a theater check to make sure no one was misbehaving or doing anything illegal. No one was, because there was a couple times we caught some people actually smoking pot before pot was legal in
right.
Ohio. We did catch some marijuana smokers in the
Yeah.
theater.
That happened.
I'm sorry, just looking back at this. That's not what it was. But anyhow, I had to go do a theater check. I'm sorry. I had to go do a theater check, and it was 80 for Brady, and I carefully opened the door, and first off, I swear this was an accident, but I carefully opened the door, looked to see everybody's doing good, and I accidentally let out the loudest fart, and it echoed throughout the whole theater. And I quickly closed the door, covered my mouth, and ran. And there's my coworker. He's like, are you all right? What happened?" I explained to him what happened. And burst
Oh
we both
no.
burst out laughing. We were on our knees, just dead. We were just dead laughing.
Oh my goodness. Oh no.
But it was really embarrassing at first, but then after a while, it was funny because when my friend at the time said, "Is everything all right?" and I explained to him what happened, we were just dead.
Yeah. Farts are funny. I
Yeah,
mean, it is
it,
what it is,
it happens.
right? Sometimes you just gotta close the door and run away. That's awesome.
But Nikki,
You okay?
something went down the wrong way.
Oh gosh, I hate that. You can talk and you can breathe though, so it's okay.
Nikki, thank you again for joining today's interview. This is actually the very last interview for season 2.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, it's been quite the journey. And we'll be back for
Woo.
fall of 2024.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you very much for having me. This is awesome.